Another station I don't understand, 'cause nobody does it like Thom Abraham.
Give us a call, Steve.
He's a northern-bred, southern-fed, slick-talking guy. Listeners in his posse are the junkyard dogs. The SEC from Tennessee to calling them hogs. From Gainesville up to Lexington to the Titan Tiger Land, nobody does it like Thom Abraham.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond?
Hey, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to a Throwback Thursday in the Doghouse. I am your host, Thom Abraham, and we are short a half hour or so today. We're actually short about 40 minutes here today, since we have Huntsville and Enterprise coming up at the bottom of hour 2 in the 7A semifinal. So until then, you have me. So get ready to contribute. We're looking for contributions to the show. As for our throwback theme today, with the AEW show being in town last night, and Grizz being down there with Captain Cool and whoever else went to the show. I don't know if the Bandyman went or not. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't know. But we thought that we would use some wrestling theme songs today to bump you back. Now, look, I've got nothing to do with picking them. I just want to tell you that right now. I have nothing. That's totally on Grizz. And he is known to get a little random at times. So we'll see what we get from him. However, feel free to suggest a few at the text window. We'll see if he'll want to take any requests. I mean, we probably only got 4 or 5 anyway today, right? Right? So how many breaks do we bump back from? We'll get, 3 breaks, 4 breaks, 2 no breaks. Maybe I'll go NPR. We'll see. So hopefully we'll have the most popular, 4 or 5 in history. And not some back-of-the-card jobber that nobody's ever heard of. But you don't know. It's not my job. Now, I may not have anything to do with the music. But as those of you who were listening to Tuesday's show knows, I do contribute to the writing of the storylines for the professional wrestling. While Big Bill Morrissey was in studio with me, I pretty much laid out and suggested how that show needed to end.
I mean, you think one last time?
Come down?
I mean, could they do that?
I haven't even thought of it. That's a good idea.
One last time, everybody's like, where's Sting?
Everybody's like, where's Sting? The one last time. I laid the whole thing out for him. It went on. After he was gone, it went on and on. I laid the whole thing out for him. To take this back and share this with them. We need Sting coming from the rafters to end the show.
I mean, you think one last time?
Come down?
Come on now.
I mean, could they do that?
I haven't even thought of it. That's a good idea.
One last time, everybody's like, where's Sting?
Where's Sting? Where's Sting? Where's Sting? And they had the Hardy Boys or the Hardy Girl. I don't know what are those guys called? The whatever those guys were. Those 2 brothers or those 2 dudes. They're not brothers, but whatever they are. Backstreet Boys in those suits. They're like getting ready for Sting to come from the stage. And everybody, you know what everybody's saying? Everybody is saying the same thing. They're saying, where's Sting? Where's Sting?
I mean, you think one last time?
Come
Where
down?
is he?
I mean, could they do that?
I haven't even thought of it. That's a good idea.
One last time,
One
everybody's
last
like,
time.
where's Sting?
Right out of the rafters. It was clear that was my idea, to drop Sting from the rafters one last time. Now, they added the Flair appearance. I didn't add that part. That wasn't me. I didn't put that in there, which was, in my opinion, a bit unfortunate. I mean, you want to put that dude at the announce desk? Fine. I don't need to see a 75-year-old wrinkled up ex-wrestler in the ring throwing punches at guys half his age, poking a guy in the eye or something like it's a Three Stooges. I don't even know what that was. Getting stomped in the corner. Stop that, will you? Stop that. And if I had wrote that piece, if Flyer is going to come out, and that's his given name, Richard Morgan flyer. If Flair's coming out, he damn well better have a full-blown Nature Boy robe on. Nature Grandpa. He should have had the Nature Grandpa robe on with, like, pictures of his grandkids and stuff like that on the robe. You see, that's the way I would have written it. He would have come out. He would have had pictures of his grandkids on the Nature Grandpa robe. Phone lines are open. 256-576-4977. I was not at the show. I did see the end of the show. I saw the last, I saw the end of the show. I saw the last 10 minutes of the show on the TNT. I was a little bit busy earlier. I had a little wrestling match of my own going on, if you know what I'm saying. Then I watched the end of the show with my wife. All right, phone lines, 256-576-4977. Text the show anytime, 24/7 at 7329-TA show, 732-982-7469. Great way to communicate with us. My X feed is at Thom Abraham Show. The station's feed is at 97.7 ESPN. You can watch the show there. You can watch it on our YouTube channel at WZZN TV. You can like and subscribe on the YouTube channel to get notifications. Our Facebook page is 97.7 ESPN. There's a link there that gets you to the YouTube page. Just go to 977ESPN.com, our website. Get links to all of that stuff. And while you're at it, get the app. Make sure you got the app where you can find a link to Zone 2, 3, 4, and 5, as well as streaming, the radio station streaming. It's all right there. So check that out. Coming up in a few minutes, Steve Merril is back from WagerTalk TV to give us his take on all things sports from a handicapping standpoint. We'll get his take on the Vegas race coming up this weekend, plus the huge Tennessee at Alabama game. And Vegas has posted odds on teams to make the 12-team playoff next season. Where are the values in that deal? I'll run it down for you. I find it fascinating to see what Vegas's view is on the 12-team playoff and who's going to make the 12-team playoff. Back to the basketball. I thought Auburn was going to get the Vols last night. I did, man. I thought early in the second half, and then they take the lead. I think they led by about 7 as at one point. And then this Dalton Neck kid just went nuts. Connect, neck, connect. The K's supposed to be silent. Connect. Dalton Connect went just absolutely nuts down the stretch. I think he outscored Auburn something like 26-21 or something late in that game to close it out. He had like 39 points in the game. And Alabama screwed around again to start the game at Ole Miss, trailed by like 2 touchdowns at one point. And they blew out the Rebs the second half behind Mark Sears. So that sets up Tennessee at Alabama, first place on the line, 3 games to go in the regular season. That guy playing the platters that matter and the stacks of wax and answering the phones and keeping us on the air, still giddy over last night. I mean, just living large at the AEW show. Surprised he didn't make the show. Surprised they didn't, have somebody go out in the stands and grab him and bring him up into the ring.
Who in the blue hell are you? What is your name? Detective It doesn't matter what your name is.
I'm the producer of this show. If I didn't step up, you're nowhere. I put this thing together out of spit and polish.
I think this is one of the traits of a really good producer. Keep the talent happy.
I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew. That Tom? Hey, Tom.
Testosterone high today. Testosterone, whatever the it is.
It really doesn't matter what you think. All right? It really doesn't matter what you say.
Any of you play sports?
Yeah, Grace, how you doing today? Whose is that?
This is Rikishi and Too Cool.
Yes, yeah.
I know a lot of older guys probably know who these guys are for sure.
Random.
This is one of my fun ones. I love this one. Are you kidding me? This was my intro, okay? This is my intro. This isn't for each segment, okay?
Oh, this is the Grizz intro?
Yeah, this is mine right
Rikishi
here.
and-
This is mine right here. They had a whole dance and everything. Watching this big man do a dance, are you kidding me? Do the
Oh,
worm.
is this an AEW? Did
No,
happen
this was
last night?
WWE or WWF.
Oh, this is back in the day?
Yeah.
I don't know. So you had fun at the show. That's good,
Oh,
right?
dude, it was a great show. I just want you to know, I am not the biggest wrestling fan. I have harped on wrestling, especially new age wrestling. Watching the event is completely different than watching it on TV. I'm gonna tell you that right now. These guys, what they're able to do, everything like that, is insane. Like I said before, I think I teared up a little bit watching Sting come out of the rafters. Thank you, Thom, for telling them to do that. Thank you for telling Big Bill to kind of whisper into their ears. I wish Big Bill had been involved in one of the matches, and I don't.
Why would he
wasn't.
bring him here? Why would they bring him here and not have him?
I don't know. Maybe made appearances for AEW for guys that couldn't do it. I don't, because Mark Briscoe actually showed up. He was going around. He has like some thing that he goes around. He stabs people with a pick, with like a nail or something. Like he showed up and did some crazy things and flipped and did some stuff and broke a table. I mean, it was wild. It was fun. It was a great experience. A lot of people there.
My wife was watching it when. It came, so I turned it on because my son had texted me. He was like, "Oh, this is going to be epic," and then and I told her, I said, "There's a wrestling thing going on," and I said, "You want to wrestle a little bit?"
Yeah, I didn't know that, but yeah.
So I pinned her, man. I tell you right now, got her in a cradle. Anyway. Do a little half
banana
Nelson.
split. You got a banana.
No. Now, see, you had to take it to that level, right? You had to
That's
go
a
to
wrestling.
the
That
next
is a
level.
wrestling move.
I know what it is. I know it's a wrestling move. You had to go to the next level. I'm saying the half Nelson in a cradle, and you had to go banana split.
I know.
But anyway,
not doing
didn't fight
Grammys.
A little two-leg takedown on her. You know?
Make sure you put a half wizard in there.
No. So I turned the thing on. And right when I turned it on is when the Hardy Boys were coming out. What are the name? What are those two guys called? The guys in the suits.
Oh, the EVPs. They're the Young Bucks. That's what
Young
they're called.
Bucks. There you
the
go.
Young Bucks.
So the Young Bucks were coming out. So the Young Bucks came out, and my wife was like, "Why are they wearing those stupid suits? They can't be wrestlers." I said, "No, why? They're going to do something." And then Brady comes out. Bradley Boyle. What, the guy that's Sting's tag team partner, the guy that with the half a face painted. Right?
Oh, yeah. What is that guy's name? Oh, Darby Allin.
Dude,
That's his name. Darby Allin.
So
yeah.
Darby
is that
comes
his
out.
son? I can't remember.
I don't know. Darby comes out, and they start fighting and stuff like that, wrestling. And I'm like, she's like, "It's fake, right?" And I'm like, "Well, it's fake, yeah." And she's like, "Oh, my gosh, it looked like he really hit him." I'm like, "Well, they kind of do. You know, I mean, those guys were throwing some haymakers. There were some, these guys getting slammed and things like that. I mean, it was significant. They weren't like screwing around." And so she was like, for a minute, she's thinking it's real. And then Flair comes out. She goes, "Who's this old man?" She goes, "Why is an old dude coming out? Why is Grandpa?" I said, "That's the Nature Grandpa. He's coming out."
My buddy told me he works at the airport. He told me when he landed, he was
Flair
wearing.
Does? Oh,
no, yeah, Flair does. My buddy does. He told me when he landed in the airport, he was wearing that same attire. So he didn't even change. He didn't do nothing. Yeah. He just showed up and he was like, "I'm ready to wrestle, baby." Yeah. Pat them arms.
So
ready
he gets
to go.
in the thing and he throws a couple of punches, and she's like, "Oh, that's not real." He just throws these like
low blowed
punches, and then he gets low blowed, and then he's down. Then he's down in the corner, and they're stomping on him. He goes, "Why are they doing that to that old man?" I said, "He's been getting stomped like that for 20 years now."
He does it to himself.
Old man for 20 years.
His mantra was like making it look like he was hurt and falling down all the time. That was the funny thing too about him.
So then the Sting music comes on.
Oh gosh.
Now let me ask you this:
chills.
When he came down,
yeah,
okay, because they showed it on the TV.
Yeah,
they see him coming down, and then they cut away, and then it's like 30 seconds at least before they cut back to Sting now, and it's Sting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, you were watching it. You were there. That was Sting, right? The whole
yeah,
time. That
the
wasn't some
whole time, all the way down.
Guy.
All the way down.
Now here, and he had the mask on. He had the face paint on.
Yeah.
his face was totally painted. We sure that was Sting. They didn't do a body switch.
No
that
body
wasn't
switch.
like a body double. Okay.
Yeah, no, that was Sting. He came down, and then the it unhooked, boom, he was ready to go. Because then he immediately attacked him, right after he came down from the rafters.
Oh yeah,
so
he got after it.
Yeah, so
he got after it. And those guys didn't want any.
It was great, and then the cool thing, we didn't get to see it because we were on the other side. But when Darby Allin first, because they were going through all the little masks of the people in the crowd, and clearly one of them was an actor. Flipped the guy's face mask, wasn't him. Darby Allin flips his mask off, then starts beating up the guys, and so that's how it all started.
The guy flipped up the Darby, and it was Darby Allin.
Yeah.
That was what was cool.
Yeah.
What happens is that there's these people on the side and they got Sting masks on.
Yeah, some of the kids.
So he flips up one. That guy wasn't an actor. The first one he flipped up was just a fan. So they flipped up that one, and right next to him is Darby Allin. So he flips up that one, and under the mask is Darby Allin, and then they start fighting.
Well, did you see you didn't watch it earlier. We didn't get to see it either because we were on the other side of the ring.
You were on the floor.
Yeah, we were on the other side
where
where you look at the camera and the second floor, the 207 levels and 217 level.
Yeah.
We were in 217. We were one row down from 217. They made some makeshift bleachers right in front of it.
Right on the floor.
Right where the ice would be. Right where the rink, the edge of the rink would be for hockey. And we were watching it. We were not far from the people that are ringside. It was amazing. Great seats.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Who was there? It was you,
Bailey,
Mandy?
Isaac, John's friend.
Who's Isaac?
That's John's friend.
Oh, John has a friend.
John has
named
friends.
Isaac.
Yeah, he was actually pretty cool. He was fun to be with. He was pretty entertaining too. So
the name sounds familiar. I wonder if I know that guy.
You probably know. He's got long hair.
Maybe I know.
Beard.
I don't know.
Goatee.
Is he real tall or no?
Everyone's tall to me.
Yeah, that's true. So Isaac was there. John, you, and Bailey.
Yeah, and then Jesse Rainwater and his son, a guy I met. I was sitting there getting Havoc tickets one day. I turned around, the guy was getting AEW tickets. Guy has a family. I hope he calls in. Guy has a bunch of daughters.
Name.
Yeah, Rainwater.
Jesse Rainwater.
That sounds like a wrestler.
Well, he sounds like a native. He must be native. I mean, you can't be Rainwater and not be native.
He's a pretty white guy. Does talking to, but he was a really nice guy, and he told me about he had a bunch of daughters and he was getting AEW tickets. And I turned around and said, "Hey, I'll hook you up." And he had a good time with his son. Son had a Sting mask on, and
nice.
It was really cool. That was his only son. He's got one son and a bunch of daughters, so it was kind of cool that he was able to do that. So he said he had a good time, and we all had a good time. So we all sat in the same row too. It was actually kind of cool. We ended up having all the same tickets.
Let me get Brandon in here. Brandon, welcome to the show. How are you?
Man, listening to you talk about Sting coming out of the rafters, it just gives me flashbacks to Owen Hart at Over the Edge in '99.
Ooh.
I didn't even know they would still let him come out of the rafters.
Well, that's what and especially with Sting is 52, and I thought they ended that thing. Of course, luckily at the VBC, the rafter's not too high. It's not nearly as high as it would be someplace else. But he did it, man. He did it. He came down out of the rafters.
Well, I have to say, my probably favorite pay-per-view that I ever watched, and I watched pretty much all of them from 91 to about 2001, had to be the 93 Survivor Series. Lex Luger versus Yokozuna. Oh, it was great. I had that for a late birthday party. I think I had every single kid and every boy in the fourth grade was at my house for that. We absolutely destroyed the place. It's a wonder my old man didn't kill me after it was over with. That was what it was about back in them days. It was on Thanksgiving Eve of '93. Never forget it. Such a good time.
I'll be honest to say I have never bought a pay-per-view in my life because it always seemed, even when I was into it in the late 90s, it always seemed like within the next couple of weeks you'd see like highlights from just about everything live. You know what I mean? Or not live, but recorded. You'd see it like on the shows, but I never bought a pay-per-view. I only bought a couple of pay-per-view fights in my whole life. I bristled at buying pay-per-view fights.
I had to buy them till about 95. And then my stepbrother went to work for the cable company, and he had that little card and stuff that you could put in the box and knew how the little de-scrambler bullet thing and all that crap that went on with it.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. I think you dreamt that. I don't think there is something like that.
Well, I mean, you probably don't know what I'm talking about when you were talking about doing the figure four last night either. But I guess we won't go too much farther than that.
I didn't even see that. Yeah.
listening today, and they're talking about something that we talked about previously, the Army-Navy game. It appears that game is going to move up, and not only is it not going to be on a day by itself, it's probably not even going to be on a time slot by itself.
Why do you say this? Why do you say this?
I had seen that on a few message boards, and then Chuck Oliver was discussing it. I flipped it on a little early, so I wouldn't forget to turn it on before you.
It doesn't make sense. Well, I don't understand why that would be an issue. The playoff doesn't start till the 20th. December 20th, the weekend of December 20th is the first playoff game. So you would have the let's say the SEC championship, the conference championship games December 4th. The Army-Navy game would be the following week. It would be like December 11th, 12th, somewhere in there. And then the playoff starts the following week. The playoff starts 2 weeks after the conference championship games. So that leaves that week in between for the Army-Navy game. Unless, Army-Navy's not going to be in a playoff.
Well, they're saying that if it goes to 14, like it could possibly, that they have got to make it to where if for some reason one of them were to be 14 or 12, they've got to arrange the schedule to where it would not conflict, where they would not be playing in that time between the end of the conference championships and the 21st. And they were talking about, I think, the San Jose Bowl as well. It would be played the same day. And then
the concern is Army or Navy making the playoff? Army or Navy are not making the playoff. They're not going to be in the top 12. I mean, come on.
I tend to agree with you, but Chuck and his producer were talking about it, and they were saying, last year may be the last time you saw, or this coming year may be the last time you see the Army-Navy game as you know it going forward being a premier event.
It's a hot take. It's just a hot take. I don't think there's anything that's backing that up. I'm not ready to go there. I don't know that there's anything that's backing that up. Having said that, couldn't they play? I guess there's a possibility they could be in their conference championship game. I don't know. And you know what? So what if the Army-Navy game is rivalry weekend? I mean, are we really going to die on that hill? So what if the Army-Navy game is at 11, the Iron Bowl is at 2 or whatever, and the Ohio State-Michigan game is whenever. I mean, so what if the Army-Navy game is the same weekend as all the other rivalry games? It's okay. Maybe they play on Friday, of rivalry weekend, the Friday after Thanksgiving or whatever. It'll be the Army-Navy game will be fine.
I think either the Thanksgiving Eve, Thanksgiving Day, or the Friday after Thanksgiving is a perfect spot to put that game because people are going to be sitting around eating and watching TV anyway.
Yeah. Thanksgiving weekend would be perfect. Whatever day it is, Thanksgiving weekend would be good.
Well,
yeah, I don't think not Thanksgiving Day. The NFL rules Thanksgiving Day. I know they have the, they got the Egg Bowl or whatever. Sometimes Thanksgiving night or whatever, but you still got NFL games there. I wouldn't do it there. I'd do it on Friday. Do it on Friday in the middle of the day. Everybody's off. Do it Friday.
I'm completely with you. And growing up, Lex Luger was my favorite wrestler. But as far as entrance music goes, I love Stone Cold's, but Val Venus's entrance music, that was some funny stuff when you were about 15, 16 years old. Roll Tide.
Appreciate you. Steeler Mike is next. Steeler Mike, what's going on?
Tom, what's going on, brother?
You are.
Hey, listen, I went to MTSU, and I don't know if, Tom, I know you spent some time in the Middle Tennessee area, but I was a bartender at this bar called Stampede Dance Hall and Saloon. This is in the late 90s. And I worked with a guy, and you probably remember his name, old wrestler. Of course, he was retired then. His name was Peter R. Miller, but he was the Mongolian Mauler. You remember him?
Oh, yeah, remember him.
Okay, so I got to be really good friends with Peter, and he was telling me a story. And this is in the early 80s, maybe late 70s. This is during the Cold War. And he's over in Germany getting ready to do a match, and he's picking up the Iron Sheik from I don't know what airport, in Germany, though. He's picking up the Iron Sheik. Iron Sheik comes out to the car to give the van or whatever he's picking him up in, hops in with his suitcase and a briefcase, pops open his briefcase in the passenger side of the car, and it looked like Columbia in his briefcase. and he's taken that briefcase through customs, through everything else, and literally he's sitting there rolling things, doing things, drinking vodka straight out of the bottle, all at the same time the minute he gets in the van. So Peter was a wild guy, but we lost him about a month ago.
Really?
He had some health issues. He passed away about a month ago. But the Mongolian Mauler, and I heard you guys talking, I don't know if it was a day ago or 2 days ago, talking about the greatest talker in wrestling. You guys were talking about the Stone Cold and the Rock, and they're awesome. But Flair's the best, man. Flair's the best talker.
I'll take Rock. Listen, Flair is on the top 5 on the mic, but Mike Men, for me, I'll go Rock 1. I tell you, I go Roddy Piper 2, and I'll go Dusty Rhodes 3, Stone Cold, and then Flair. That's how I go.
All right, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Is imitation not the highest form of flattery?
That's
right?
true. Yeah, but they took it to the next level.
How many people imitate Ric Flair on YouTube, pro football players, all that stuff? Woo! I mean, he's the man. Thanks, Tom. Great show, brother. Go Steelers.
Appreciate you. I got a place for the Steelers to go. Let's get a break. When we come back, Steve Merril will join us from WagerTalk TV next on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Do you have discomfort in your legs? Varicose veins can affect not only how your legs look, but how they feel. Symptoms can include pain, heaviness, aching, fatigue, or swelling at the end of the day. If this has been the case, then Varicosity Vein Center can come to your aid. Evaluation and treatment of the veins is performed as an outpatient, utilizes the latest, minimally invasive techniques, and is covered by most insurances. After treatment, patients may resume most normal activities without delay. Varicosity Vein Center now has 3 North Alabama locations, one in Huntsville on South Memorial Parkway between Drake and Airport Road. Our new locations include Madison at Madison Hospital Complex and Coleman at the Coleman Regional Sports Medical Center. You can call 256-715-7151 to set up your appointment with one of our experienced and compassionate team members, or you can visit online at varicosityveincenter.com. Varicosity Vein Center, Alabama's premier vein center.
Hello, sports fans! The Alabama State Senate will soon decide if you get the right to vote on a lottery, casinos, and sports betting. But they need to hear from you. Did you know Alabama is one of only 12 states where you can't legally bet on sports? House Bill 151 allows you to choose whether you can place a bet on the big game this weekend. Call your state senator today and tell them to vote yes on the lottery and gaming bill. For more information, go to sportsbettingalliance.org. Paid for by Sports Betting Alliance. sportsbettingalliance.org.
Hey folks, Bob Baumhauer here. We're extremely proud that Baumhauer's Victory Grill has been serving Alabama for 43 legendary years. Our motto is legendary fun, legendary food, and we strive to make every dining experience a special one for all of our guests. Our menu features delicious, always fresh and scratch-made in-house recipes. And of course, our award-winning wings and sauces. And don't forget, our happy hour and halftime daily specials cannot be beat. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Legendary fun, legendary food.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at GenSuperstore.com.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
It's a beautiful day for a ball game.
Here it comes, and there it goes. Fly ball, deep left field, way back. This one is up. This one is gone.
Grab your peanuts and Cracker Jacks and get ready to cheer on the Tide.
Called third strike, a slider lower inside corner.
The Tide plays here all season long.
Here's a spin. Here's Bowman's throw home. The slide, and he's safe.
On your home for Alabama baseball, the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly cloudy to overcast sky this afternoon. Going to be a touch on the chilly end of the spectrum. Highs only climbing into the lower 50s. We're dropping into the low 40s as we head into the overnight, early into your Friday morning. Scattered showers and thunderstorms are going to develop across the Tennessee Valley Friday morning. That activity is going to stick with us through Friday afternoon. Temperatures only climbing into the mid and upper 40s. We're going to maintain the opportunity for a little bit of rain through Saturday afternoon, but it is going to be warmer. Temperatures climbing into the low 60s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio.
This will turn journalism on its ear.
Watch our stream on WZZN TV on Twitch and YouTube.
But you are the greatest hero in American history.
We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
So are any of these real songs that were, or are they all just custom for the wrestlers?
I think some of them were. I think this is a real song. I know it was made for Hulk Hogan, but it's like a real song. Yeah.
I wonder if it like got radio play and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I wonder if it was just heard on the show, or if we're using on a Throwback Thursday. We are using wrestling theme songs today because last night's AEW show that was taped right here. Well, they had a live show. They had a live show on TBS last night, the Dynamite show, and then they taped another 2-hour show that'll air on Saturday night, all from the VBC last night.
Yeah, and one of the guys last night, Orange Cassidy, absolutely cool guy. One of the coolest. Everyone loves him. Justin Ferguson, that's one of his pictures on his Twitter account. He loves the dude. He thinks he's a great entertainer. His song is Jane by, I think it's, what is it, Jefferson, what is it, Starship or something like that? Yeah. Yeah. But it's Jane, the song Jane.
Steve Merril joins us from WagerTalk TV, and he is on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. He's also on WZZN TV for those of you watching on our YouTube channel or any of the other places where that pops up on the Twitter and so on. And Steve joins us now. Steve, welcome in. How are you?
Doing well. And I'm going to give everybody a reason to start watching the video feed. You know, one of the advantages to having a cluttered office is that I could literally turn around and reach this without even knowing we were talking wrestling. How do you like that?
How cool is that? How cool is that? And I was a big fan during the Wrestling Wars, the Monday Night Wars in the late 90s. But look at that. There's Real American right there. This is the album. Cool.
This was the wrestling cassette. So cool. It was the album the cassette came up here, 1985, before Chad was born.
That is really cool.
Still awesome, though.
You guys
before Chad was born, when America was safe.
See, you'll have to watch the replay, the WZZN TV replay, and you'll be able to see that. That was very, very cool. Are you still into it at all? I was into it back in the Monday Night Wars
I haven't watched it for 30. I was say, don't even ask me. Anybody in the last generation, I haven't watched. This was WWF mid-'80s, man. That was my heyday, and I was already out of it before it even became WWE. But look, you're still talking Hulk Hogan though. 40 years later, right?
Well, I liked it as a kid. And then I liked it in the late 90s, you know, when they had the Monday Night Wars and they had those, WCW and WWE going at it. But last night they recorded AEW. In the last couple of weeks, we had Jeff Jarrett in studio with me. We had Big Bill. If you look on Twitter, I posted a picture of Big Bill Morrissey with me in studio. He's 6'10", 300 pounds. He was a captain of the NYU basketball team. He's 36 years old now. And, so these guys were coming in. They're great guys. They're absolutely great guys. But last night, this show last night was Sting's last show, was his last TV appearance. He's going to be in a pay-per-view next week, and then this was his last TV appearance. And sure enough, he came out of the rafters, did the Sting thing, where he comes out of the rafters. But right at the end of the show, Ric Flair comes out, 75 years. 75-year-old Ric Flair comes out. He's throwing punches and getting pounded and stomped. It was hilarious.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I will say that ever since they admitted it wasn't real, it took a little luster out of it for me. Like growing up as a 10, 11-year-old kid, like you always had that debate. Was it real or not? You kind of knew it probably wasn't, but you also still believed in Santa Claus and wanted to hold on. So that took a little of the luster out for me.
What was real last night was Tennessee going off at the end of that game to beat Auburn. I thought Auburn was going to get them, and I think Tennessee ultimately covers in that game. But I thought Auburn was going to get them, in the second half, and then the Connect kid just goes absolutely crazy down the stretch and outscores Auburn by himself. And that sets up a big game coming up on Saturday night in Tuscaloosa with Tennessee and Alabama playing for first place in the SEC with just a couple of games to go.
Yeah, and I mean, these are two teams, if you look at the KenPom rankings right now, Auburn 6, Alabama 7. I mean, they're both neck and neck. Auburn probably a couple points higher on a neutral court right now, and that's because of that stronger defense. Alabama is still the number one offensive team in the country efficiency. Auburn 13th, but a big difference in D. Auburn is 6th. Bama is 99th. But what's interesting, Tom, I went back and I checked, and like the last 8 years, the last 7 or 8 national champs have all had a higher offensive efficiency ranking than defensive by the time the tournament was over. Now, I didn't check going into the tournaments. That might vary, but the point is you have to be a really good offensive team. Everybody says defense wins championships. And Auburn's still a very good offensive team, obviously, but Houston, their 18th offense, first defense. Tennessee, 17th offense, third defense. So of the 4 teams there, the only one that theoretically is better offensively is Alabama. With that said, though, no team has won the national title over the last decade with a rating in the 90s, though. Most of them are still top 25 both. So just something to be concerned about if you're the Crimson Tide. They literally have to outscore everybody to win.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting because it goes to the style of play that Nate Oates promotes, and of course Nate Oates came to national prominence. We saw him making a run with Buffalo and so on, but it always has been run and gun. I think last night was their 8th time over 100 points. That's a 192-point college game. I mean, the last night, that is just absolutely nuts. They scored 97 points or 95 points at Kentucky. Is the most points ever scored by a Kentucky opponent at Rupp Arena, and they lost the game by 22. I mean, it's just nuts. So you're right, and I don't know that you can just all of a sudden start playing good defense.
Well, the thing is, I will say this: you don't have to be a great basketball player to play good defense. Defense is more intensity, coaching, mindset. I think offense is something you can't fix. So once again, I go back to the fact the last 8 national champs have all been a better offensive rated team than defense. And I think that proves it right there. But they've all been top 25 defense as well. I think Alabama is so far down that list right now at the 99th efficiency. And by the way, that's adjusted for tempo. That's not based on points allowed. Obviously when you score a lot, you're going to give up a lot. This is adjusted efficiency tempo. It's per 100 possessions with schedule strength factored in. So it compares a slow down team like Houston just as it does to Alabama. And Houston, number 1 defense, Alabama, 99. Kentucky, by the way, 85th, but they're in the 100s a couple weeks ago. Kentucky is improving. Auburn, 6th. So, yeah, Bama can score at the best of them, but you're right. I just don't know if they can improve that defense enough to win 6 straight games come March.
Does Kentucky feel like like they're scary again all of a sudden? I mean, they had a soft spot in there, and they've lost 5 games in the SEC, but right now it feels like Alabama and Tennessee are playing for the top of the SEC, and everybody's chasing Kentucky.
Yeah, I think everyone's afraid to play Kentucky. We saw what they did to Alabama on Saturday. That actually, you and I had talked. I said that Bama, based on the pure raw power rating, should be a couple-point favorite. They had a forward was suspended, guard was injured. So maybe that makes it pick them, but Kentucky went off as a 2-point home favorite, and I still used them because I thought it was a great setup, and they are a pure play-on team. And even if you look at that Mississippi State game the other night, I stayed off that game. I would have played Mississippi State just because of the situation. It was a terrible spot for Kentucky, and they still came and won outright on the road. So it looks like they're starting to click, and they're going to be a very dangerous team come March and tournament time. It's a team nobody is going to want to play.
I heard an amazing stat yesterday from one of our guests, Steve Merril, with us here from WagerTalk TV. He was saying that, and he's not a handicapper, but he likes the action. Anyway, he said that since the All-Star break in the NBA, it was something like the under is something like 31-8 it was like the number has been blown up, and whether or not the teams got the message that the commissioner was ticked off, or maybe because now we're into the playoff stretch run, whatever it is, those numbers were really super high from Vegas, and right now the under is like 31-8 or something like that since the All-Star. You've been following that trend?
Yeah, I mean, it's a trend that I think it was like I had it like 29-12 going into last night, and then we saw. Let's see, I'll add it up right now. But 1-2, I think it was 4-2, so that'd be like it'd be like 33-14 under right now, depending on the closing lines. So it's a trend. It was 10-1 under Tuesday night. That's the one that really caught everyone's attention. It was 10 of the 11 games going under on Tuesday a couple nights ago. I don't read too much into it. I mean, my take on it is that they're coming off the All-Star break, a week off. So maybe there's been a little bit more defensive intensity. Teams are fresh. And also, let's not forget the odds makers have had to jack these totals higher than any time in history. And we saw this with the NFL a few years ago. Remember all those overs? The games were in the 50s routinely. Well, what did we see this year? We saw a lot of unders the first couple months of the NFL season. It was over 60% under on the blind because games became lower scoring and the odds makers weren't adjusting. So I think that's what's happened. I don't think there's necessarily a memo from the league. To be honest, I don't think the league cares about defense. I mean, we saw the All-Star game. So I think it's just a matter of maybe after the All-Star break, something's changed, a little more defensive intensity. And I just don't think the odds makers have caught up.
I know the commissioner was not happy with that All-Star game. I mean, he was like, you guys he's trying to figure out some way to get these guys to play with some sense of intensity there. So, the scoring numbers have been crazy in the NBA this year in individual scoring. It seems like every night somebody's scoring 60 or 70. We had a couple of those. I mean, it just been nuts. To NASCAR, Atlanta, second pack race basically in a row, has to do with the package and the track itself. They added the banking, the new pavement. It is getting slicker and slicker there each race. And this thing here was like a short track race. I mean, they were beating and banging all over the place. Guys couldn't control the cars. Some of the cars just breaking loose on their own in the corners. But then we get this spectacular finish, coming down that last lap. It was incredibly exciting, and it's all anybody's talking about is the finish. The race itself was kind of tedious, though, with all of the cautions. I don't know how you thought about it. It was over 4 hours. I can't have 4 hours. Give me 2.5. I can't have 4 hours. But, man, what a finish.
Yeah, I mean, that's, once again, these restrictor plate tracks are like NBA games, right? You don't really have to watch 90% of the game or the race. You just have to watch the end. I'm happy that they're in Vegas this week. They get back to a real track. This is an intermediate cookie cutter track. I've actually been to this track about 2 decades ago. The story I always tell is going in on a Sunday afternoon. There's like thousands of beers stacked up at the entrance. They would not let you bring drinks in to the track. This was back in 2008. And it's whoever the parent company is. It was like that with their other tracks as well. But I'll never forget that sight. Like literally hundreds, if not thousands, of unopened cases of beers and cans of beer sitting outside the entrance. It's a pretty boring race for the most part, but from a handicapping perspective, these tracks are golden because they're mile and a half intermediates, make up about half the schedule, and the same usual suspects do very well here. If you look at the last 6 races going back to February of 21 at Vegas, the best average rating has been Kyle Larson. He's been top 10 in 5 of those 6, winning 2 of the 6. William Byron, top 10 in 4 of the 6. Those are the best 2 active drivers, and they're both as good as anybody on the circuit right now. You got Hamlin and Busch, Blaney and Truex right after that. So it's going to be one of the usual suspects this week.
You say, real track. I say too flat a track. You know what I mean? I mean, the banking, you need to get a little banking, because you're right. It will be kind of a boring race. I think they'll get stretched out, and it's these kind of tracks that cause us to have stage racing because we need to have, you need to bunch them up artificially, every 50 or 60 laps. And, I just wish they had a little bit more banking over there.
Yeah, it was like I said, I went to this track a couple decades ago. It was not an exciting race. I believe Carl Edwards won that. He was probably, might have been Gibbs. Was he ever Gibbs? I know he was Roush, but those guys dominated. He was in the 99 car at the time, and it's been the same thing. Like the Gibbs cars over the years have been really good on these tracks, but it looks like the Hendrick guys are the ones to beat now. And if over the last 6 races, Larson and Byron have been the 2 best, and I would expect that to be the team to bet on. But the problem is, unlike the track plate races the last couple of weeks, you can get 5 or 6 guys at double digits. You have to kind of pick selective here because these favorites are going to go off at 4-1, 5-1 sometimes. So it's trickier to handicap in that regard, but I do like that we can look at the practice times. The plate tracks the last couple of weeks. The practice times mean absolutely nothing. It's all pack racing. It comes down to that final turn of the final lap, like you talked about. But with this race, the practice times, the average 10-lap speeds is what you want to look at. That usually transfers to the race, and that's how I've made a lot of money over the years betting NASCAR. Unfortunately, the odds makers have kind of caught on to that, and you're going to see the odds adjust. But, look at the opening odds now and then look at them on Sunday morning, and normally the guys that become shorter favorites had pretty good practice times.
Steve Merril with us here. Speaking of opening odds, now I know that you don't recommend tying up your money. I get it. You don't like to get into the futures, but they're fun to look at and talk about. And Vegas has now put out the odds to make the 12-team playoff, just to make the 12-team playoff. And you see some usual suspects at the top. It's interesting, though, because this is all about path, and like Clemson, for example, 71% for Clemson and Florida State. They're tied for the fifth best chance to make the 12-team playoff because it's a popcorn conference, right? I mean, you look at the conference, it's a Kansas State, 66% to make it. Tennessee and Alabama are, Tennessee is 33% and Alabama 30%. If you're looking for value, do a little future betting here. It's fascinating to see the way Vegas is projecting these teams to make the playoff.
Yeah, well, I'm glad we finally have a playoff. I mean, I've been a proponent of this for over 20 years now. I have a 1AA background, FCS. They've had it since the 80s, so there's no reason why they couldn't have had a playoff. And they somewhat got it right, I think, with the 12 teams, because the top four are going to get the bye. The four that would have been in it get that benefit. And then you get more teams in it that really kind of deserve to be there in the first place, like we saw this past season. But you're right, from a handicapping dynamic, it's very interesting because especially with the conferences, getting thinned out so much, there's certain conferences that have a much easier path to get teams in, and then they have an extra game to play, but then they're going to be in the quarterfinals or even the semis after that. So it's interesting in that regard. Also with Michigan, Alabama, coaching changes, two of the top 4 or 5 powers right out of the gate with new coaches. It's going to be a fun football season. I'm definitely not going to mess with anything right now, not only because, like you said, tying your money up, but let's wait and see the NFL draft. Let's make sure everyone goes out for sure and see the transfer portal as well. I mean, that's the great game changer is in the summer.
Yeah.
I mean, you really got to wait to June, July. It's really even difficult to do these preseason annuals anymore. I used to contribute a lot in May for the preseason annuals that have come out in June. I don't even mess with that anymore because there's so much uncertainty with the portal. It's a new world. But with that said, you would expect the same powerhouse teams, and the 12-team playoff is going to allow a few more of them. I mean, the other thing you got to look at as well is, I mean, a team like, like Coastal Carolina, Liberty, one of those teams is going to get in now as well, probably one of the non-power fives, like we saw this past season. James Madison had a really strong season. They weren't even eligible for bowls, and they finagled their way in with some controversy, but then their quarterback, their head coach, everybody left for Indiana. So it's going to be wide open this year, but it's going to be fun. I love the playoff format. It's going to keep a lot more teams alive. It's going to make a lot more regular season games meaningful as well.
Well, it's really interesting because there is not one group of 5 team on this list going all the way down to Colorado at 4.35%, plus 2,200 to make the playoff, just below Florida. How crazy is that? But there's no Power 5 team, and there's going to be a Power 5 team in. So at some point in time when people do start saying, all right, I'm going to bet the future and see, bet on a team to make the playoff, that might be where the best value will be, to try and figure out the one Power 5 team that's going to be the highest ranked in its conference, the AAC champion or the MAC or whatever conference you think, the Sun Belt. Try and pick that team, and you'll probably get pretty good odds because that's the one that's going to be a little, a little longer shot than these other teams.
Right. Well, I think you're exactly right. The fact that the odds makers are posting up 20, 25 teams and not even putting one of them up just shows how much uncertainty there is with those mid-major conferences.
All right. Great point. Always a pleasure. Check them out at WagerTalk TV. When's the next thing you're doing on WagerTalk?
Yeah, about to do the college basketball show in a few moments, but you don't have to worry. You can watch it after your show on the replay on WagerTalk TV. So check out the college basketball tip-off show. And then I did 3 videos today, too, a free college basketball and 2 free NBA play videos, including the Wizards-Lakers game. And if you don't have time to watch the video, just check out my page. I've got a free play in that game. LeBron just 40 points away now from 40,000. He got 34 last night. They play the lowly Wizards, and then they play the Nuggets on ABC national TV Saturday night. Thunder on NBA TV Monday night. So you know he's going to break it in one of those two games. Question is, does he get enough tonight to break it on Saturday? You got to figure the league memo maybe went out on that one. So anyway, I've got a video on that game and also a free play for the NBA and a best bet tonight. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com, and also on WagerTalk TV on YouTube.
All right, Steve, we appreciate you, man. Great stuff as always.
Thanks, Tom.
Let's get a break. When we come back, we'll set you up for hour number 2, which is wide open because it's not an hour. It's about 20 minutes, but you'll be able to get in then as well on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey, Wes. Our company, Fleming Roofing and Restoration, specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a fifth-generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it, or we can replace it.
Well, you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10-plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey, Wes, we show up.
March Madness begins in the Rocket City as the Conference USA Men's and Women's Basketball Championships come to the Von Braun Center March 12th through the 16th as 9 teams look to punch their ticket to the NCAA tournament. Lock in your seat for all the tournament action now and get the best seats available to be right on top of the action. And thanks to our friends at Dave & Buster's and Main Event, we have Power Passes available in 4-pack single session tickets available now that include $60 in savings. For more information, visit VonBraunCenter.com or visit the VBC box office.
No payments for 90 days on 23 and 24 models. Financing as low as 0% and the best deals of the year on America's best-selling truck for 47 years in a row. Hi, folks. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and I'm here to tell you it's Truck Month, the time of the year to get the best deals on F-150, Explorer, Bronco, Edge, Bronco Sport, and Escape. During Truck Month, get financing as low as 1.9% for up to 72 months on 2023 F-150 Crew Cabs, and lease payments as low as $375 a month. That's a 36-month lease with $62.82 due at signing, 0 security deposit, just tax tag title, and your good credit. Offer ends 2/29/24. Call 539-9441 for complete details. At Woody Anderson Ford, we have over 40 Bronco Sports and nearly 50 Explorers and about a dozen full-size Broncos, all with great sales incentives and no payment for 90 days. Truck Month only happens once a year. Woody Anderson Ford, hope to see you soon.
Hello, sports fans! The Alabama State Senate will soon decide if you get the right to vote on a lottery, casinos, and sports betting. But they need to hear from you. Did you know Alabama is one of only 12 states where you can't legally bet on sports? House Bill 151 allows you to choose whether you can place a bet on the big game this weekend. Call your state senator today and tell them to vote yes on the lottery and gaming bill. For more information, go to sportsbettingalliance.org. Paid for by Sports Betting Alliance. sportsbettingalliance.org.
Cheeseburger Bobby's has a great new way to feed the family with 2 $30 family packs. The first is the Tenders Family Meal. 20 delicious chicken tenders, fries, and a gallon of tea. The second is 4 cheeseburgers, fries, and a gallon of tea. Your choice, just $30 each. These specials are good for carryout and online orders only. Log on to cheeseburgerbobbies.com to order. And don't forget frozen custard for dessert. Cheeseburger Bobby's, 2785 Carl T. Jones Drive, Huntsville, and at cheeseburgerbobbies.com.
Listen to UAH Charger basketball all season long.
Rebound kicked out to Luke for 3. Yes, sir! Luke Burnett! Keep shooting, young man!
Listen to UAH Charger basketball all season long.
Sailor along the baseline. Muscle it up, big man. Lace it up and in. Daniel Sailor
makes it a 10-point game.
Listen to UAH Charger basketball all season long on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
From Coleman to Fayetteville and all points in between.
Son, pull the hammer back. Smokey's coming at you in a plain white wrapper.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody.
That's good right there, now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, People's Champion right there, baby.
I had to throw that one in there for sure. Him and
doubt.
Badass Billy Gunn.
No doubt.
He was there
Welcome
last
back.
night, too. He's part of they're called the Scissor Gang.
Billy
I don't know
Gunn,
if I can say that on air.
Yeah, no, I did see that. I've also seen some names of moves that I could have used last night in my wrestling match that has been popping up. Bama Brad said TMI. He doesn't want to hear any more about that match, and others are laughing about it and having a good time with it. So that's a sign of a good bit. You do a good bit, you got people on both sides of it. You got people that say that they hate it and people that say that they love it. Then you did it. Not gross.
Yeah, you got grossed out. You got the third group that's grossed out.
Yeah, that's good. That's reaction. That's what you want. You want reaction. One way or the other, you want to have some reaction. All right, hour number 1 is in the hopper. Hour number 2 is 20 minutes long. And the phone lines are open. So you want to jump in, you can jump in. Vegas posting the odds to make the 12-team playoff. 9 teams are more than a 1-to-1 favorite to make it. They're giving you 9 teams that are going to be in the playoff that are more than even money to make the playoff. And guess who's not one of them? Alabama. We'll share a list with you next on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Thanks to fourth quarter heroics by LeBron James, the Lakers have moved up to 9th in the NBA's Western Conference, pulling within 3 games of the 5th-place Suns. As Coach Darvin Ham said, James pretty much put on his Superman cape. He scored 19 of his 34 points in the final frame, outscoring the Clippers in the process. Clips only had 16 points. James with 5 threes, 4 assists. Lakers won the final regular season matchup between the two teams, 116-112. Defending NBA champion Nuggets welcome the Heat tonight, 9:30 Eastern, ESPN Radio. Miami's won 6 straight on the road, is tied for 5th in the East with Philly. Denver trails West, leading Minnesota by 2 games. The Hornets planning to hire Nets executive Jeff Peterson as their head of basketball operations, according to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski. He'll take over for Mitch Kupchak, who moves from general manager into an advisory role with Charlotte.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
From heirloom diamonds to contemporary jewels, Loring & Company is the place to find something truly special. Whether shopping for a diamond ring for that once-in-a-lifetime occasion or marking a milestone birthday or personal achievement with a Rolex watch, you'll find just the thing in our edit of the world's most sought-after brands, including David Yurman, Roberto Coin, Marco Bicego, and Fopay. Expect a treasure trove of the world's most unique, even breathtaking earrings, rings, necklaces, and bracelets, making choosing just one piece a challenge in itself. Loring & Company Jewelers on Airport Road.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time, or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Hello, sports fans! The Alabama State Senate will soon decide if you get the right to vote on a lottery, casinos, and sports betting. But they need to hear from you. Did you know Alabama is one of only 12 states where you can't legally bet on sports? House Bill 151 allows you to choose whether you can place a bet on the big game this weekend. Call your state senator today and tell them to vote yes on the lottery and gaming bill. For more information, go to sportsbettingalliance.org. Paid for by Sports Betting Alliance. sportsbettingalliance.org.
Each week, check out our latest zone deal online at 977ESPN.com.
I'm eating good food.
We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
The opinions of Thom Abraham are not necessarily the opinions of the radio station or anybody associated with the radio station or ownership. These are strictly his own opinions, and sometimes they're not even his opinions.
You need to be more like a dog.
Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. You guys know what they're talking about.
Be a dog.
God bless the show. You are the Messiah.
We need more dogs.
This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you.
Hey, I see you. I see you, dog.
So settle in and get your bark on.
That's my dog.
Now live. Here he is, the big dog.
Let's go, baby!
Thom Abraham.
How you doing? 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 How you doing?
Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like El McPherson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond? Get off my lawn.
I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here.
Oh, hell yeah. Welcome back, Thom Abraham Show. Throwback Thursday, we are using wrestling theme songs today. We're doing that because of the show that was taped last night and the live show that was last night down at the VBC. If you were there, you had a good time. That's good. I'm glad that you had a good time with it. It was a good show from all accounts. I only saw the end of it, and the end was dramatic. It was predicted because, I wrote it. I mean, it was, we knew it was going to happen. We knew Sting was going to come from the rafters because I said that's what needed to happen.
I mean, you think one last time?
Come down?
I mean, could they do that? I haven't even thought of it. That's a good idea.
One last time, everybody's like, where's Sting? You see Bill Morrissey, he's like, can they do that? I'm like, yeah, one last time. Everybody's like, where's Sting? And he comes down from the rafters. That was the conversation that we had. And sure enough, that's what happened last night. So we are only taking you to about 20 past the hour today because we have Huntsville High and Enterprise coming up. It'll be the state crew doing that game for you, but you'll be able to hear that game and follow it. So if you're stuck at work, call your friends, call fans of the Huntsville Panthers and say, hey, boys are going at it, ready to go. Of course, Buckhorn has already moved on to the state championship game. It'll be a rematch with Mountain Brook. That one is coming up on Saturday at 1:30. That worked out good for us, Grizz, because Alabama-Tennessee is at night.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll have that on the air. I mean, we better have that on the air. I don't know what else we would I mean, I haven't looked to see if we got that on the air, but I would assume that we'll have that game on the air. And then that night it'll be that big game between Tennessee and Alabama, first place on the line when those two teams get together on Saturday night in Tuscaloosa. So that ought to be a good one, and we'll see how that whole thing shakes out. Obviously, Alabama's a different animal at home, although they did get the road win at Ole Miss. They screwed around for a while in the beginning of that game. Grizz, you weren't watching it because you were there, but they messed around for a while in the beginning. Yeah. They were down at one point in time. They were down like 14 points.
Yeah, I did watch a little bit at the beginning, actually right when the show started, and then kind of just went away from it and then saw that they had came back. I hadn't had it on for it. I actually had the show on, too, while we were live because we were trying to see ourselves.
Badger Larry is some of my voice. First thing she said when the TV came on, right? For like, can you see John? I'm like, oh, I can't see John. I mean, it's just I don't know where they are.
It was the worst because like literally where the camera shoots the scene, we were literally to the left, and you could only see the people that were ringside. We were right behind the people that were ringside, but it was dark.
Badger Larry is going to be coming in at 12:30 next Tuesday, Grizz, with Thom Perkins from TOC. As Badger Larry was the winner of the second Grand Trifecta, and he will be getting that suite. That's the Ice Suite, the TOC Ice Suite. So we're going to present that to him on the air, and of course on WZZN TV. We'll take some pictures as well with Thom Perkins, and we'll have some fun with that. So it'll be good to know that'll be good that he's coming in. Text window. Bama Todd says, "I bet the Junkyard Babe didn't feel like a winner after the match was over." I guess the big dog won by default. I mean, come on. I think she was a winner. I think that was went well. Brandon says, "Didn't Billy Gunn retire in the middle of the match? Just like Tom's opponent yesterday?" Get out of here. JYB tapping out.
This is what's going on in the YouTube right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nonsense.
You people. Nonsense. Let's see. From Kramer, wrestling music suggestions. Alter Bridge for Edge. Cult of Personality for CM Punk. And Hard Times Big Boss Man theme. We're going too deep. We're done. You know what, Chris? Bump us out with one. Do you want me to take a break in the middle of this 20 minutes? Or do you want me to just ramble for 20 minutes?
You can take a break if you'd like to. I've got it set up for that way.
Okay. You got it set up for a break? So I'll get a break in there. I can get a break in there. That'll work out good. By the way, you guys know that I have an entirely different life that I live through Bassmaster, Bassmaster.com, Bassmaster Radio, my hosting of that, and the outdoor show, and so on. So the Bassmaster Elite Series, which is the premier, professional fishing series in America, where these guys fish for $100,000 first place at their tournaments and so on. This week they're at Lake Fork. Grizz, have you ever caught a 6-pound largemouth in your life?
Not a 6-pound, but pretty close. About 5, I think it was like 5 and some change.
5 and change?
Yeah.
I have caught in my life maybe a half dozen 6-pound or more. Maybe a half dozen.
Yeah, nothing that crazy.
Not from where I fish. Yeah.
I went with a guide and caught 80 fish in 6 hours, or like less than 100 fish in 6 hours, and none of them, all of them were ranging between 2 and 4 pounds, but they were still. It takes
a special, yeah. I mean, you got to be at a special way. You can get 6-pounders, obviously, at Gunnersville. So maybe I've caught 15 over 6 pounds.
Yeah.
So now that I'm thinking about it. Maybe 20. But you can get them at Gunnersville. I did have one in New York. I've had a few in Florida. But there's not a lot of places where you get 6-pounders. A 6-pound largemouth is a big largemouth. I mean, that's a good fish, right?
Yeah, that's a big fish. Big mama.
These guys are fishing at Lake Fork, which is a small lake, 25,000 square acres. Put that in perspective. Gunnersville is 67,000 acres. This lake is 25,000 acres. So this lake is a third of the size of Gunnersville. It's Lake Fork. Legendary big bass pond, Lake Fork. Today is day 1 of the tournament. Get this, Grizz. The top 10 are all over 30-pound bags. Do you realize a 30-pound bag, 5 fish, 30-pound bag, they're averaging 6-pounders.
They're averaging. Insane.
It's insane. I have never seen
growth
anything.
Hormones in the fish.
Oh, my gosh.
Whey protein.
they're getting fish on the spawn and on the pre-spawn.
Yeah.
But the guy who's leading the tournament today, okay, Stetson Blaylock is leading the tournament from Arkansas. He's got a 5.5, his 5 best.
Yeah.
5.5, a 6.10, a 4.3, an 8.6, and a 9.10. Oh,
9.10?
And a 9.10. There's a 10-pounder in there.
Caught a tuna?
Oh, my gosh.
This is the next to the TVA.
Justin Hamner from Tuscaloosa is in 4th place. He's got 31 pounds, 5 ounces. They don't know what the other guys are doing. They call a 30-pound bag a dirty 30. Mm-hmm. That's like a 30-pound bag is a real big deal. If you have 100 pounds in a 4-day tournament, you get awarded a century belt. They call it a century belt. There's only been 30 of them like in the history of bass fishing. There's been like 30 century belts where a guy has averaged 25 pounds a day. These guys are at so Justin Hamner from Tuscaloosa, this kid has 31 pounds, 4 ounces. I guarantee you he's out there thinking he's got a 10-pound lead. Like he's like blowing the field away. 5'9", 6'11", 7'10", 5'8", 5'15". He's got 31.5, and he thinks he's leading the tournament probably. When he gets in, and here's what's going on, and then there's Wesley Gore, he's a rookie from Alabama, out of what's that school over there? Just jumped out of my head. Great bass fishing team, Montevallo.
Oh, Montevallo.
So he's out of Montevallo. Right? So he has a 212 and a 2.2. He needs to get rid of it. He has 31 pounds. His other 3 fish, 7.3, 8.6, 10.9.
10?
Those are his other 3. A 10-pound, 9-ounce. I mean, a double digit in a tournament.
That's insane.
It's insane. And he's got a 212 and a 2.2.
Where are these fish coming from?
The moon. I mean,
clearly they're not being outfished because they're just there.
Corey and Chris Johnson are brothers from Canada, and Chris is in 8th. He's tied for 8th with 30 pounds 2 ounces, and Corey's in 10th with 29 pounds 12 ounces. If you're Corey Johnston, right, and you got 29 pounds 12 ounces, the biggest bag I ever caught in my life, in my entire life, was 27.5 pounds at Gunnersville. That was the biggest, and I never could even imagine how it could get even bigger. We were shaking off 5-pounders at the boat. Me and Derek Remitz were out there, and we'd like have a 5-pounder on it. We'd like shake it off at the boat, like, oh, that's not gonna help.
That's gonna help us, yeah.
That ain't gonna help. It was 27 pounds that day. Corey's got 29.12, and he's in 10th place. Dude, he's gonna come in and he's gonna be like, where? I got a dirty 30, and I'm in 10th.
Finding all these pregnant female bass just like sitting, my goodness.
Are loaded. They are loaded with roe. I mean, it's amazing. You'll see live coverage on FS1 Saturday and Sunday morning. If you want to see the biggest big fish factory in the country, it's called Lake Fork, east of Dallas. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. What's also ridiculous is that Vegas has 9 teams as odds-on favorite to make the 12-team playoff. Ohio State and Georgia are 1-10. 90% for Ohio State, their odds of making the playoff are 90.91%. Georgia's are 90.01%. Oregon, 83.33%. Oregon, out of the Big Ten. Oregon. Texas is at 83.33%. Out of the SEC. So they're, as far as Vegas is concerned, Texas to the SEC is nothing. Now, I know that they beat Alabama. That's one game. But then do they beat LSU, or do they go and beat the next big team and so on their schedule? When you look at Texas's schedule right now, their SEC schedule, Colorado State, and then they play Michigan at Michigan. Texas at Michigan. They're saying Texas is going to win that game. Then they play Mississippi State. They got their Oklahoma game, which is always, a toss-up. They play Georgia, Vanderbilt, Florida, Arkansas, Kentucky. Texas. Actually, Texas got a pretty favorable schedule. They are playing Michigan, Oklahoma, and Georgia. The rest of their schedule is not that tough. Now, at Texas A&M, that's a rivalry game. But they could be 9-3 in a heartbeat. Texas could be 9-3 in a heartbeat. Clemson is 71%. Florida State is 71%. K-State is 66%. K-State, you know why? Because they're playing a popcorn conference in the Big 12. Michigan is 52% to make the playoff. Utah, 52%. Those teams are all prohibitive favorites. Then you get Miami at a 50-50. Even money. Miami, even money to make the playoff. Ole Miss, 36.36%. Plus 175. Arizona, 33%. Penn State, 33%. And Tennessee, 33%. Then Alabama with Louisville at 30%, Grizz. Wow.
Louisville?
Alabama and Louisville, 30%. They got Alabama all the way down there at 30%.
Oh, have the
They got Alabama as, yeah. But we'll see.
It's over.
We'll see. It's over.
Kalen DeBoer doesn't curse either, I hear.
Yeah.
It's a whole different. It's over.
Done. Other SEC teams, LSU is 28.5%. Texas A&M is 16%. Missouri is 15%. Auburn, 10% chance of making the playoff. So you get plus 900 with Auburn. Oklahoma is a 9% chance. Florida is a 4.5% chance, plus 2,000. Now remember, next year the only automatic qualifiers next year are the 5 highest-ranked conference champions. Then the other 7 are at large. What they're talking about with the 14-team playoff, if in fact it goes to a 14, and I don't know why they would go 14 and not shoot right to 16. I don't know if I like 2 teams having buys. But supposedly there's a momentum now for this 14-team playoff, which would start in 2026. There's only 2 years left of the current deal. And then there's talk about this 14-team deal, and the SEC would get 3 automatic bids. So the top 3 teams in the SEC. Now, the top 2 teams, it's no more East and West, so the top 2 teams are going to meet in Atlanta, and they're going to know that they're in the playoff. When they play in Atlanta, they know they're in the playoff. What is the advantage of winning that game? I don't know. I guess a bye could be on the line. And then the third best team in the SEC, automatic qualifier. Doesn't mean that you can't have 4 or 5 get in, but 3 automatic qualifiers from the SEC, 3 automatic qualifiers from the Big Ten, 2 automatic qualifiers from the ACC. So they're already telling us, ACC, nah. 2 automatic qualifiers from the Big 12. Oh, my guy. 1 automatic qualifier from the group of 5, and then 3 at large, maybe 2 at large, depending on Notre Dame. If Notre Dame is in the top 14, they would automatically get in. All you got to do is be in the top 14 if you're Notre Dame to make the playoff without playing a conference championship game. I don't know if that's fair. Because the top 3 teams in the SEC will all be higher than 14, but Notre Dame gets in at 14. All right, that's going to do it for us. Coming up next, Huntsville, Enterprise, state berth into 7A state championship game is on the line. And you'll hear it all right here. Coming up, tip at the bottom of the hour. I'm Thom Abraham. And this is 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This weekend at the Florence Coliseum, it's the Hot Tub and Swim Spa Blowout Expo. Savings up to 50%. 30 hot tubs on display.